Hello, welcome to Scrapping with Lois. I am so glad you're here. And today, before we delve into that project that I outlined last month, I thought I would show you the new punches and border maker cartridges that Creative Memories has just come out with. And this first one is a scissors punch, and I've already punched it, and it's very adorable little border. You can see the scissors, and if you turn it upside down, you can see you can use it other ways. It's like one of those pictures you look at and you say, "What do you see? Do you see a horse's head, or do you see a turtle?" It depends on how you look at it, what you see. So you look at it one way, you can see scissors, and you look at it another way, and you can see a bow. So it just depends on how you look at it. But anyway, that's a scissors punch. And then I thought we would punch this next one together. It is the square tile, which is showing hot right now on the website. Very popular, and I pulled up the wrong one. This is the square tile. Square seems to be a very popular shape. They have quite a few shapes that are square tiles. Now this is not going to be a border. This is just going to be a punch. This is just a square tile punch. So just pop it in there and butt it up against, nice and flush, and punch. Comes out very attractive border. I'm going to go back to that first punch just for a moment. I should have explained about punching. You have the guidelines on the front where you start. You would put your paper in to make your first cut and line it up with that first mark right there. And then once you punch the first one, then you slide it over we'll pretend this is uncut paper. So then you slide it over and keeping this side butted up, and then you line this one up with the design on the plate and punch, and you continue the same way. So those, if you haven't used them before, that's how that's done. So the next two are border maker cartridges, and these are move this up here just a little bit, see it a little bit better. These are Ancient Key and Double Rick Rack. I haven't tried either of these yet, so you are going to come along with me on my very first test of these punches. Now I'm just going today to do just the standalone punch. It'll come out very similar. So I'm just going to do one other. If I were using, I could use the border maker. Oh, let's just use the border maker cartridge. We'll just make the whole thing. Might as well just do the whole thing. Bring the paper guide up. Put the paper in. This paper is not standard. This is old Creative Memories paper. When I say old Creative Memories paper, like from the 1990s, and they weren't making their own paper. So this might not be, I just grabbed up the first black piece I had in there. So you want to line the little heads up with the guide and punch. First time might be a little more difficult. And then again, it'll get easier. And then again, it also depends on how many little places it's punching out. But more area you punch, the harder it is to punch. A little more resistance. But if I can do it, most anyone should be able to, because I've got 72-year-old hands here doing this. So there is what your border looks like. Can't really see it over that. Oh, dark. But, okay, so that's it for the ancient keychain. Pop it out, put the other one in. Oh, that made a really nice little stack of punch debris. Looks almost like, looks like the letter E right there. If you ever needed the letter E, looks sort of Greek style. This is the double rickrack. Remember rickrack? Mother used to put that on our dresses. When she always made our dresses when I was growing up, and we would have rickrack on them. They sold it on little cards that was wrapped around and wrapped around. So that, I think that's where they get the idea for the double rickrack. I wonder if I can freehand this. I'm going to try it because my just going to try freehand this a little bit. This is not the way to do it. I don't recommend doing it this way, but I don't have my trimmer handy. I'm getting ready for it. Tomorrow is the first secret box, and it's also the Creative Memories Virtual Craft Weekend. So the opening of the secret box will be tomorrow. And Eastern Standard Time is 5:45 p.m. See, it's that Canson paper that Creative Memories used to sell a long time ago. So I've done two things wrong here. I've shown you paper you can't get any longer, and I've free-handed something and told you not to do it that way. So I should have had that ready. I didn't realize that. So this is our double rickrack. It's much easier to punch, much easier. This one, the surface is a lot. But again, younger hands should be able to do this without any effort. And there you have the double rickrack. So that is it for the two new tools and the Boardmaker cartridges. Now we're going to delve into that project that I talked about last month. So I am going to bring a folder over here and show you how we're going to get started on this. Okay, here's the first folder that we're going to start on, and it's 2005. That's more than 15 years ago. Been in there so long, it's pretty dusty. So, I have not looked at this in over 15 years. And there's an accumulation of dust. So if you have a backlog that goes back that far, I hope this will be of I really like these old file mates. They were quite handy. They held a lot. And if I haven't shown this little tool to you that I came up with, it was inspired by something that Vicki Morgan, my original Creative Memories advisor, had shown a long time ago how to do. And it's a timeline of events and places that will help me identify photos. The first time I was faced with this big backlog, and I was carrying them around in bags in the original, because these are all old pre-digital. And I took them over to Vicki one night. We spent 3 hours. And we went through this pile of photos and put them in a macro sort by at least decades. In some cases we did years, but decades and years. So she showed me a lot of different techniques for trying to identify photos. So what I came up with is, I think it's written on 2 sides. And I have not kept up with it. Life has overtaken me, and I don't have as much time to do these kind of things as I used to. But it starts out with 1969, and I think on the back it goes to, it looks like 1999, and then I've got some other things written. But I started out with things that would help me identify pictures or events. If I found a picture that we were someplace, I can go back and look at my timeline. And I did this back, before 2005, when things were still fairly fresh in my mind. But instance, 1969, Lois, me, graduates at Cambridge High School. And then in 71, I graduated from the technical college. And on down here in 1981, Lois goes to Hawaii. So if I'd forgotten what year I went to Hawaii, I can go back and I can look when I get around to doing those pictures. And 1987, I put on here, gets short haircut from Al. And that was very memorable because it was so short. When I came home from that haircut, Jack looked at me and he said he didn't like it. He called my hairstylist, Al, and he said, I am sending her back over there because she looks like a boy. So I went back and he put a little perm in my hair, and I looked on top, and I looked a little less like a boy. But it's little things like that. I'll put in, had short hair, had long hair, and then had that weird haircut from Al. And that followed me for a couple of years, that haircut. But it's anything like that that you can think of that will help you, or events, a timeline. Like my brother was in the hospital, and I put that on there. And just fourth trip to Cancun, just various things like that. And then up in 1998 was a memorable year. I started off with the January crop in Springfield and Las Vegas, PMA. So anyway, if you are having trouble identifying your photos, at least try to get them into decades or by family members, maybe on your maternal side, your paternal side, and just try to narrow it down that way. And go by decades. And if nothing, if that's decades as good as you get, or as family as good as you get, that's fine. It's your scrapbook. It's whatever makes you happy. So enough for the timeline. Now we are going to delve into this folder that has not seen the light of day in over 15 years. It's hard to tell what's going to pop out at us. Sorry about all that noise. Boy, this thing's heavy. I bet that thing probably weighs 6 pounds. Paper's heavy. Anybody that carries a lot of paper around with them. So I did have it broken down January by months. Very neatly labeled. And let's see what kind of stuff I saved back then. Now, I'm not going to laboriously make you go through all of this. Oh my goodness gracious, there's a CD. Look at that. That was my photos. My photos came on that CD. Goodness gracious. Oh, there's a good one. Congratulations, Vicki, for your 10th annual ultimate crop. How about that? And there's a group of, that was a year that we must have won the page push that year. I think that's what that was. There's Vicki, there's me, there's my scrapbooking friend Connie, scrapbooking friends Sandy and Tom. We had a little group that always entered in the page push. Well, I see, that's the other thing. You can go down a rabbit hole on this stuff. What we're supposed to be doing, I get out of that rabbit hole. We're supposed to be taking these things out and determining what it is we want to keep and what we don't want to keep. Okay, that's it for January. And we had labels. And I've got all these photos that I will have to go through and sort and determine. Now, these were a lot of pictures that were taken at that January ultimate crop that Vicki Morgan started. And here I had fairly short hair. And Vicki was, she really changed my life in getting my photos organized. I don't know where my photos would be now if it if I had not gone to her first workshop. So anyway, this looked like the January crop. Here's my friend Connie. She's got, I forget what that was a big, that was her retirement, I think, from her one hospital job. So anyway, those look like they're all crop pictures. Are those important to me? Yes, they're still important to me because I still see many of these people. So yes, I will be keeping those. But that's the one thing we're going to be going through here and looking. Are I still, do I have the same goal? The who I'm scrapbooking for, the what, and the why. And yes, these are important enough to me, especially now that I have become a Creative Memories consultant, or rather now they call them Creative Memories advisors. It is important to me because these are my roots in Creative Memories, so they're precious. I saved everything back then because Vicki always said save 3 copies of brochures when you pick them up. You might have one you want to have to cut up, and maybe one is double-sided, so you just never know. I save my name tags and all kinds of, and then Vicki just sent always the nicest letters. I won't bore you with the red. I think another month just slipped out. Oh, there's my late husband. Oh, he's a handsome guy. Oh, sweetheart. So anyway, this is what I'm not going to belabor you with all the sorting, but I'm going to go through, and this was a PMA, which is a big event. Again, a big event of my life. And a lot of what I learned through PMA, and I learned, with Jack, and especially about photography from Jack, it was a big part of my life. So yes, even though those days are gone and Jack is no longer with me, it was such a big part of my life that I want to scrapbook that for me. So I am scrapbooking for me these events that really meant a lot to me. And that would have been in February. So I guess that was February that fell out at us. And as you can see, I saved a lot of brochures. Oh, and I used to play, see, you can go back memories. I used to play Mahjong. I was with a group of ladies, the National Mahjong. We get Mahjong. We get our card every year, and we'd play from that card, and then it was just fun. I eventually had to quit the group because they were all a bunch of little old Jewish ladies, and most of them couldn't see to drive at night. But I worked during the week when they would meet during the day, and I was only available after work or on Sunday. So I didn't stay with the group more than a couple of years because I couldn't find anybody my age at my hours to play Mahjong with. But now that I'm the little old lady, I could probably find a group now. So that's important to me because it was something I learned new, and I'm keeping that. I may find other things through here that I decided not to keep. Again, that all fell out. Peter Pan, Kathy Rigby, and Peter Pan kept probing. So as you go through your backlog, you'll just have to make those decisions. And since tomorrow begins the virtual crop, I am going to spend some time today laying out this 2005 into a macro sort that I can hopefully do a few pages on next week, because these old years from 2005 and even before that, I've got go back to the 40s, the 1940s, and I don't have the time anymore that I say, oh, I'll get to that. I'll get to that. The to it is now. I've got to do it now or I won't get it done. So anyway, that's about all I think I wanted to say today, was go back through here. First time I've seen this stuff in over 15 years. So this is just pretty amazing. I'd forgotten about so much of these things. The Touchstone Hotel in San Francisco. I mean, you go back and you look and you say, that's another thing. Sometimes you don't get these kind of brochures and things anymore. The pandemic seemed to put an end to a lot of written material being handed out in brochures. Like, for instance, there's no smoking bans that we have now. I have a collection of matchbooks that are rather precious because they're restaurants and hotels and places that just don't give those out anymore. So anyway, well, that's about it. If you have any questions, just pop them in there and I'll answer them. I'm not always quite as timely. I try to do that. And I will have a link out there in the description if you want to go out and purchase any of these Creative Memories products. And if you don't have a Creative Memories advisor and you find someone near you, it's always nice to have a local Creative Memories advisor that I would say you're within maybe half an hour, 45 minutes of, because it's always nice to be able to see these things or find an advisor who does have crops that you can go to and you can share tools, which is really nice because Creative Memories comes out with well over 500 new items every year, and it would be impossible for any one person, even me, to buy every single tool that Creative Memories came out with. And then some of them are so specific that you might not want it in your permanent collection. It might be something you'd want to use once or twice. So anyway, I appreciate you watching. Thank you very much. And next month, I will show you the results of laying this this little mess of 2005 out and show you what I've decided to keep. And I will also show you what I've decided to let go. And I'll tell you why I did that. So thank you very much. I hope to see you at the virtual crop tomorrow, which begins at a new time this year. It starts on Friday at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the opening of the secret box. Thank you and enjoy your weekend.